Hear that? Like the pulse of the street, a hole in the chest. Hear that? Like the pulse of the street, a hole in the chest.
Yo, what up, my people? What's going on? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Radical. Sorry for the little bit of a delay. I was having some technical difficulties. You feel me? My Wi-Fi was acting up, so I had to like connect it, like physically connected and stuff like that. But anyway. What's going on? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I hope everybody is having a great day. I hope everybody's having a great time. You know what I'm saying? I hope everybody is enjoying their week and all that, you know, enjoy their holidays and everything like that. I really do. I really do. I really do. I hope everybody is doing wonderful. But there's a lot of things that we got to discuss. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that we have to discuss here in these YouTube guides. You heard? Now, for those who don't know, first of all, I want to give a shout out to, Zone. Shout out to Zone. Shout out to Denise. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Johnny. Oh, Doctor. What's going on, Doctor? Shout out to Doctor. You know what I'm saying? Hit the like button as you enter. Yes. Please hit the like. So I was not the only one with Wi-Fi troubles. Nah. You wasn't the only one. I was hearing the playback for the stream, and it was all choppy. So I was like, oh no. Mind you, I got a Wi-Fi 6 I got a Wi-Fi 6 router, and it's supposed to be good at, giving more internet and less internet the more you actually use it, or whatever the case is. And it looks like it was having some like trouble, but it's all good. I have it hardwired right now, so I shouldn't be going in and out. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be going in and out. I should be fine. Everything should be good. Now, for those who might not know, real quick, let me just give a shameless plug real quick. For those who might not know, I am officially on Rumble. So for those who don't know what Rumble is basically a YouTube competitor site. The same thing like YouTube, but it's called Rumble. You know what I mean? The only difference is that in Rumble, it's not pretty much bogged down. You know what I mean? With this whole, censorship stuff. You could pretty much say whatever you want on Rumble. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, I already got a few videos up on Rumble. I'm not going to announce my Rumble until like later on, or whatever the case is. I'm gonna start doing some exclusive content over there. Some of the live streams might not go over there maybe until a day or two, because I need 100 subscribers to even live stream on Rumble, or whatever the case is. So it is what it is. Don't worry about it. Just get me up to 100 subscribers when I announce it, and then we'll be good to go. But I'm going to be officially on Rumble, and I'm going to have some exclusive, content on Rumble, also uncensored type of opinions on Rumble. So definitely wait for that. So I just wanted to let y'all know, that's going to be coming soon. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rumble. And the good thing about Rumble is you get monetized, right? Automatically. So, shout out to Rumble. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, let me just move on. So, for the people who might not know, there's this dude named Pan-African Strikes Back, right? Where I interviewed him a couple of months ago. Great interview. For those who don't know that I interviewed him, definitely go check it out. You know what I'm saying? Definitely go check it out. But I interviewed him, and it pretty much went well. From that moment on, I started following him, started getting more interactive with his audience, and started following him. So basically what I took from Pan-African Strikes Back is he's a do-for-self type of person, and not blaming white supremacy or whatever the case is for everything, for all your issues in the world. You know what I'm saying? So that I really resonated with that. And I was like, yo, shout out to this dude. You know what I mean? And the thing is, Oh, shout out to Magic Mulata. Yeah, thank you very much. Never heard of Rumble. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. Yeah. Rumble is actually pretty good. It's pretty good. So I'm gonna start streaming there. And some content exclusively. So definitely go to Rumble when I announce it. You guys could definitely go there. But anyway, so I interviewed Pan African Strikes Back and everything's been cool. And interacting with him and his audience and some of his topics and stuff. And he pretty much came out first by talking about Tariq Nasheed and some of his scamming ways, right? On the fact that he's a grifter and stuff like that. And at the beginning, I'm gonna be 100% honest, I wasn't really on that wave. I was like, I don't know. But the more and more I start to see, the more and more I start to agree that Tariq Nasheed pretty much is a grifter. He is a basically a scam artist. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he raised $1 million something for a project that he told everybody was going to be 2 stories, and he got an ice cream shop, pretty much should tell you he's not about the real work. You know what I'm saying? And him lying, talking about is $1 million. That place is $1 million. Pan African Strikes Back actually researched it and found that that place is actually $600,000. But anyway, so Pan African Strikes Back has been on a rampage, going at him. And one of the protests that Tariq Nasheed was advertising, Pan African Strikes Back actually showed up and questioned some of the people, especially Connie Collins, who works for a organization that is for immigrants, but yet she's the one speaking against immigrants, which is wild. You know what I'm saying? And he's been pretty much on their bumper. Now, it was revealed to everyone that Tariq Nasheed not only wanted to file a lawsuit against Brandon, which that's Pan African, right? Brandon, but he first of all, he wants to he wants to get a restraining order against Brandon. And pretty much this was already discussed on his on his live. Let me see if I could try to bring up the screenshot. This was already discussed on his live, and this was the screen. This is the one of the screenshots for it. So basically, Tariq Nasheed wanted to file a court hearing. It got denied for whatever reason, but he went out and filed a civil harassment violence against Brandon. Civil harassment and violence. And I found it very peculiar because Brandon never threatened him online. None of his streams ever produced him to say anything bad. Nothing was said about, threats of violence or loss of life on Brandon's streams against Tariq. None of that ever happened. And the fact that Tariq Nasheed, the leader of FBA, even though he wants to say that he isn't, but yet he's making rules that people follow. Tariq Nasheed, a person that talks about Latinos in a negative way, who has a sister that married a Latino. Tariq Nasheed, who made a hate group called FBA, and who are saying, part of these people are saying that they officially hate Africans and all that other stuff. This individual went out and filed a restraining order against someone. And my thing is, how come he didn't file defamation? Because if everything that Brandon was saying and everybody else was saying was a lie, that's an easy win with defamation, right? They have to prove that it's a lie with discovery, and you have to prove that it isn't a lie. But when discovery comes to play, not only will your taxes be revealed, but all your income will be revealed, and that will tell a different story. So it's really funny that he filed a harassment restraining order and not defamation, but it is what it is. But I want to know what you guys thinking. I'm gonna bring up Denise right now. Denise, what's going on?
What's up?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me just pause the music right quick.
Yeah, take that horrendous music. No, I'm joking.
I pretty much broke it down, and said what I had to say. But what are your thoughts? Because me and you spoke about this privately, but what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, first of all, I mean, like I said to you earlier, I think that I apologize for my tone. I've been fighting like a very bad case of the cold. But I mean, so if I sound funny, just cut me some slack. Anyway,
no, you're good. Don't worry about it.
So basically, like I told you when we spoke about this a little bit, I think if he was granted his restraining order, there has to be some grounds to a degree on why this was granted. Okay, so hold on, give me 1 second. Do I sound double to you?
No, you're good.
You sure?
Yeah, you're good. Unless you got the stream playing in the background, but I don't hear it.
Okay. So basically, never mind. So basically, if it was granted, it's because there has to be some basis to it. Let's just put that out there. Something must happen. Must have happened that gave Tariq Nasheed some grounds to get his restraining order, put in place. That's the first, right off the bat. Second of all, why he will not necessarily file a lawsuit or start a civil lawsuit against this individual. I don't know what's going on, so I'm just going by what the facts that I have, which is what you have said on the stream. That's all the facts that I have on this. My guess, if I had to guess, is because it's very hard to prove. What defamation, slander, libel are things that are very hard to prove in a court of law. Okay, they're extremely hard to prove, but very expensive to actually bring forward in a court of law. So of course, it would be something that you might consider doing, but then when you evaluate if there's some tangibles that you can obtain from it, because the only thing you can get is a recovery, like a remedy on, based on the damages that were done to you, and that has to be in a form of revenue or emotional distress, and all these things are very, very hard to prove in a court of law. So unless there's some actual tangibles that Tariq Nasheed can produce to show how this affected him other than what he felt, of course, then I can see why he will not pursue a civil lawsuit. Like, I wouldn't do it either. I think he's doing the right thing, given the facts that I have. I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. I'm just saying I understand where he's coming from because I don't have any more facts of this. So I would say maybe let's wait a little bit and see if his legal team is actually working on something soon, or if he's just gonna leave it at that. Because it's going to be very hard for him to prove this in a court of law and get something out of it. And it's very expensive. So it's kind of like a fool's errand.
So for what I know so far, the restraining order hasn't been granted yet, but it's in the process of being filed. And
it has not been granted?
No. It hasn't been granted. For what I understand, it hasn't been granted yet. It's just been filed, and they have to go to court. They have to go to court to basically debate it out. You know what I mean? Because so as you can see in the screen, the petition for the civil harassment violence, right, was issued on the 7th. The court hearing the next day was denied. So they got basically another court hearing, in order to grant
can you put that screen once again?
Yeah.
It says, let me see. Okay, so it was in the 20. Maybe, I mean, like I said, we need to see how this evolves with time because legal
Yeah,
processes are very intricate, especially when it comes to harassment, defamation, slander, and libel.
yeah.
They're very intricate. So I think we should wait it out. But I mean, if he's already talking about restraining orders, he has to have a lot of evidence to actually prove that his life is in danger.
I don't really think so, to be completely honest. Unless he makes some evidence up, but I don't really think so. Don Armando says I want to put a restraining order on Blood Moon. She is a Death to Society.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
okay. No, but I don't really think so. To Tariq has been well. Did you see the little event on the highway? He a couple of people put certain things on the highway next to his house, talking about go home Tariq and your hate group and all this other stuff, right? So
I have not
I
seen it. I have
okay,
not
so
seen it.
I've seen, so hold on, let me try to see if I could pull that up right now. Let me see if I could try to pull that up right now. But okay. But the thing is, I'm still in talks with the individuals who did that, right? And then he goes out of his way and basically says, "You see, family, I'm being harassed again." And those same tarps are placed on front of the his museum, so-called museum, right? And I believe that he's going to use that as an excuse to say, "Oh, look, see what Brandon is doing, harassment and all this other stuff." What are your thoughts on that?
But I mean, but those are. I mean, I don't think he can use that because unless Pan Africanist Strikes Back has encouraged his public to actually go out and do those things.
Yeah,
There's it, like I said, one thing in the court of law, one thing is what you know, and another different was what you can prove. Okay,
yeah,
he can know that he can file restraining orders for harassment to those individuals, but how can he tie those individuals to this guy? My guess, if I was Tariq Nasheed, I will invest in a private investigator that can actually investigate if there's some form of communication that can actually provide me the avenue to sue in a civil setting first, so I can obtain the proof that I need, get some damages, and then with that, if I want to push it further, then I can bring up criminal charges. But I mean, aside from putting signs away from his house and stuff, like, is it really worth it? Because what is he gonna gain from this? You get my
yeah,
point?
yeah. So one of the signs. Let me just hold on. Let me give me 1 minute. I don't wanna put this person's whole thing out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this was pretty much. Hold on, I'm getting some of the stuff right now. Uh, hold on for 1 second, because I'm getting all the evidencia right now. So wait, boom, 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 boom. Okay. So Tariq Nasheed, right? This was done outside of his home. And I know the people who did it. Like me, we were in contacts after this happened.
Don't tie yourself to that.
No, no, I know. I didn't know it was gonna happen, but
Okay.
so it's I just got in contact with the people who did it. And I was like, yo, what the hell? That's crazy. You know, this and this and this, because you know it's a hate group, right? So Tariq Nasheed, go away, FBA ADOS, right? So this was on a highway next to his house, a couple of like miles away from his house, but this was pretty much put up there, right? And they took claim for that, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, this is something that Tariq Nasheed posted on his Twitter saying, "This is harassment. I'm being harassed. Um, this is something that shouldn't be happening." Hold on, let me put it up right now. Um, bu- 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 okay. I'm putting it up right now. This was it. So he says the same anti-black organization that posted hate crime signs near my home, which is this, and there's nothing about hate crime whatsoever. FBA is a come on, they're a racist organization. But anyway, near my home, vandalized my museum building in Los Angeles. Now, does this look like vandalism to you?
No, it's not vandalism. Actually, it's not.
Exactly. So this right here talking about FBA is a hate group, it won't work. ADOS is a hate group. This and this and this and this, right? I believe he's going to use these two incidences to say that Brandon, which is Pan African Strikes Back, is the reason for that.
But this is the thing. He needs evidence that because Brandon can also say, what about, I mean, how did people found that out? Maybe you did it to yourself. Maybe you posted that to
check
get
this
clout.
out. Now check this out.
That can be argued many different ways.
Yeah, of course. But check this out. The people who did this, I got in contact with them and they verified they did it, this and this and this, right?
Uh-huh.
I asked them if they did this and they said they don't even know who even did that. Right?
You get my point?
Now
it
check
could
this
be
out.
him to try to get traction.
Exactly. Now check this out. Check this out. Everybody was asking Tariq, hey, do you have video evidence? Do you have video evidence? He's like, there's no cameras around, which is bullshit because Brandon goes to the museum with his camera phone and shows a bunch of angles and a bunch of other businesses that have cameras around. So
this is LA. There's always cameras.
There's always cameras. Exactly. So my thing is that it's staged in order for him to put some fake evidence on Brandon and him to say, you see, I'm being harassed by this person. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. What you think?
Yeah, it could be. And again, before the Tariq Queeners start coming at me, right? This is mere speculation on my end. I do not have the full information. I'm going by what I see. Okay, so don't shoot me because I'm just stating a clear speculation. Okay, it's a speculation. Anyway, so if I had to speculate, which I hate to do that, I would say, I mean, it could be something that he's doing for business. He's probably scapegoating Brandon. I mean, put yourself in Tariq Nasheed's shoes. He already scammed people to get that so-called museum going. He hasn't employed any black men in there for a long time at all. He has nothing going on in there. Okay? So there's no museum. There's just a structure that has tenants even.
Yeah.
So basically, what's the next hustle that he can use? Tariq Nasheed was a hustler. We know that he was a PIMP, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, he's going to use those same techniques. And what is the next thing you can do? Well, I'm going to generate drama to keep this whole FBA being hated by everyone, attacked by everyone thing going. How would I do that? I need a villain. And I need facts, and those things can be fabricated. The villain might be Brandon, right? And then the events or the facts that I need, I can make them up myself. Yeah. And since there's no evidence that, because how can you prove, how Brandon can prove in a court of law that he did not do this? You get my point?
Yeah.
So he can prove. You cannot prove that you did not do something. You cannot prove that you cannot commit a crime.
Let's remember, Tariq Nasheed is the one that put Brandon's address out online, put a picture of him being stalked online. So
it's, and this is my mere speculation. Once again, I'm just speculating. If I was Tariq Nasheed, this would be the perfect move to keep the whole FBA thing going so that I can get more money for protection in my next project.
Yeah.
Okay, from my following, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring in Jose Negron, Anthony, and Don Omar. What's going on, guys? Jose, what's up,
What's
bro?
up?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing
Yeah,
me
good.
on the platform.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, bro. So Jose, what do you think about this?
First of all I got to say is to Tariq Nasheed, produce your evidence or shut up. It is that simple. Come on. Just because one person posted a couple of signs away from his place, that's not vandalism. That's not hate speech. That's not. It's nothing. It's just simply expressing a point of view. All I'm going to say is the following, Tariq Nasheed. Either produce your evidence or shut up.
Do you think that those signs away from his home, Jose, do you think that's a backlash for the hate that FBA is spewing?
It could be. But it could be. But contrary to some people believe, there's a thing called free speech. Okay. Now, if Tariq Nasheed can use his freedom of speech to tell Latinos to go back to our countries and talk crap about um, Africans and call everybody else tethers and what have you, then people can post signs regarding, telling FBA and ADOS to leave away from their home as long as they are on public property.
Got it, got it. Anthony, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Radical?
What
What's up, Denise? What's up? Who else is in the building? Jose,
what's up? What's up? What's up?
most hated YouTube villain. What's up?
Hello.
What's going on? What
But
what
I
are your,
think
what are
Bro,
your thoughts on this whole thing?
I think Tariq has a case with this, honestly. Like, and I think a lot of people are forgetting. Not only did Brandon show up to the 106, I think it's 106 or whatever, power, whatever, talking about Tariq. See, if he didn't say Tariq, it might have been different. But he did actually say Tariq. There's that. He also walked in. He had a video where he was talking to some, and he was like, "I'm talking to this light skinned girl," and he was asking her about Tariq. I seen another video. He was walking around asking about Tariq. So that's like already three videos. Then you have another video. He's like, "Hey guys, I think I found Tariq's museum." That's like borderline harassment. So I think that's the angle he's going to actually try to take and say, not less, okay, this guy's making videos about me, but he's actually in the streets, like filming himself. Like, I think I found Tariq's museum, and where's Tariq?
Yeah.
And hey, did you know
Well,
Tariq?
the,
In
the
multiple
thing,
different videos.
I don't think the museum thing will stick because he found that museum before he bought it. So I don't think that's a
No, I mean like him actually being out there looking for like something about Tariq. I don't think it's
But
going to be
but
like a,
but this is the thing. Here in LA, you also have people looking for celebrities, and that's not like actually classified as harassment. You get my point. Like
maybe
there's
that, but I mean like
because
everything together. Everything
no,
together.
but if you put things together, he can literally just say like I was just doing a documentary or researching, or I'm just a fan.
wait. Hold on.
It's like I
Wait.
said. It's
Shout out to Jay. He goes like those signs were laid out very neatly. Where's the damage to the building? I swear. Tariq thinks people are stupid. He's referring to this so-called vandalism right here on his museum. Like, dude, that's not vandalism whatsoever, bro.
That's what I said. I'm like, if you live in LA, you know that when people go out and graffiti something, they actually graffiti the building. Okay,
Listen,
that's just how it is.
I think we lived through a couple of riots. We know what a riot. We know what vandalism looks
Yeah,
like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
come
So
on
I'm
now.
like, here like for you to actually have a harassment claim, it doesn't matter
Yeah,
how
but
many
listen,
times
Denise. He's called Tariq a pedo on his platform
that does
before,
that
and then but
at
hold up and
best.
hold on. He's also said, "Hey, I got people I know. I got my people going to his rally," which he was talking about Afro Think Tank. So I'm saying if you actually put all of this stuff together, it does look really
I
bad.
don't
It's
think
not just
that's
I'm looking for
harassment though.
No,
there's
that's
definitely
if he
defamation.
has
Calling
told
somebody
him.
a pedo.
Well, that's defamation, but that's not. But the other thing
Okay,
is not
but what it,
harassment.
my thing is this. Does he have any evidence that Tariq Nasheed indeed was a
I
P
don't think
person?
so. I don't think so. No.
Okay,
He
so
well
if
he's
he
I
that's
feel like he
that's
said stuff
different.
like, oh, because people said in the comments like, "Yo, be careful, be careful." And he was like, "I don't care if I got lawyers or something
No,
like
no,
that."
I
So
remember that. I remember
So
that.
okay, so
yeah,
if he
so
I remember
if
that. I
he
remember
said
and this
that.
is
that, okay,
far before Tariq ever mentioned him.
No, no,
okay,
yes,
but
no,
if
you're right.
Tariq, okay, if Tariq Nasheed is going to bring uh uh okay, then he should not bring a restraining order for that. What he should bring is a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit first,
Exactly, and this
because
is
and it
my
should be
main
for
question,
slander.
and
It
this
has
is
to be
my
for
main
slander.
Okay, I see what
question.
you're saying.
How come he's being sued for? I'm not being sued. I'm sorry. He's having a restraining order and not suing this dude for slander or defamation or whatever the case is. How come? And my
Mike,
thinking, the
go ahead,
way
go
I
ahead.
think is, if once you do that, you're gonna open yourself up for discovery. Discovery is the thing that you're gonna have to uphold and give documents that you're not that you don't want out. You have to do it. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's very weird that it's harassment and not anything else. You know what I'm
I think he
saying?
doesn't. I think he doesn't want him to show up to the museum. That's what I think it is. Like when it opens, I don't think he wants him to show up.
Well, you can't control that. Like, if you could say this individual is not allowed inside, that's different. But if
But with a
Brandon is
restraining
gonna be
order,
if Brandon's gonna be outside, you can't control that. That's the public street. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if he has a restraining order, in reality, he cannot come near the vicinity.
That's true.
So,
That's
so one thing is, like I said, I don't have all the facts, so I cannot make a proper assessment. But if it's true, like he said on a stream, that Tariq Nasheed committed that crime, right? And it's not true. That is grounds for a civil lawsuit on slander. Okay, what I don't understand is why Tariq Nasheed has not taken the civil route before the criminal route, because
ah,
yeah,
that's usually the pattern. I mean, it worked with Bill Cosby. That's how they got him. It
they
was a
got him with the
civil
criminal.
suit first. No, but
Oh
if
yeah,
it was first civil, that's how they obtain all the evidence for the criminal case. So I'm like, at the end of the day, you start with civil and then you move into
I think
criminal.
this is a civil.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but a restraining order already is a criminal. You're escalating to criminal.
Oh, okay.
You get my point?
I
With
didn't
what
know. Okay,
evidence? You need evidence, and first you
Yeah.
have to obtain evidence through the civil.
we know Tariq got those receipts though, so you know.
I don't know, bro. If he didn't show the
But
receipts,
if it was denied already the next day, the hearing
Oh, it
for
was
his
denied?
restraining
Okay.
order, yeah, it was
Yeah,
denied.
it was denied.
Then come on now. I'm not saying he does not have grounds, because if we were in his position, you will want to defend yourself with everything you got. I cannot blame
That's true.
Tariq Nasheed for defending himself. I
That's
would do
true.
the same thing in a heartbeat. My thing is, I'm questioning why he has not taken the civil route before, because nobody should be. I don't care if I disagree with Tariq Nasheed or not, or I don't like his views or whatever, but nobody should be disturbing your peace
That's true.
just because they don't like what you say on
Well,
YouTube.
if we're talking about disturbing the peace, how come Tariq Nasheed put out Brandon's address online?
But
We're gonna
but
be
at the
talking
same
about that.
time, Brad, we don't know what's the relationship between Brandon and Tariq.
I'm gonna say
That's
this. So
true.
Brandon actually put his own address online, and I don't think
Oh,
he
I didn't know
realized.
that.
I don't think he realized he did that, because there was one day when he was talking about Tariq, and he was like, "Oh, Tariq lives in Chatsworth," and he went on Google Maps, and I don't know if he ever realized that when he went on Google Maps, his home address popped up like on the screen.
Oh,
Because
shit.
when you go to and you put Google,
Yeah.
so it popped up on the screen. So I don't even think he knows that to this day, that he actually put his own address, on the screen. So
That's,
In all honesty, I think this is a spaghetti plate.
A spaghetti. What does that mean? What do you mean?
It has no beginning and no end. Like, unless it's a mess. It has no coherence,
Okay.
because you have one person that's claiming certain things, but at the meantime cannot take someone's name out of their mouth. However, you have another person that has supposedly all the grounds to make it right, or get themselves rid of this stupidity, but they're not doing
Yeah.
anything. So it brings a lot of questions.
Julian says Tariq Nasheed's wife was originally underage when he first got with her. I don't know about that.
That's what I said. I'm like,
don't know.
that's something that I will want to defend myself against. If
Yeah,
somebody says that about me, like I will want to defend myself
of
with
course,
everything I got.
of course, of course. Don Omar, what do you think about this, bro?
Don Omar, Don Armando.
No, Don Omar.
No.
What you think about this, bro?
I mean, if you actually look at it, um, Tariq Nasheed is a punk, and you have certain people that they want to be the big bad bully, but then when ish hits the fan, they can't handle it, so therefore they want to go the legal route. So
Yeah.
that way, I think that he's just a straight up punk for that. Second
Mm,
of all, I don't know really too much of the details of what's been going on between Pan African Strikes Back and Tariq Nasheed to really elaborate on it. But me personally, if a guy is trying to go the legal route for something that happened like away from his residence or anything like that, he doesn't
yeah.
really have a right or a foot to stand on legally.
Yeah.
But then again, California laws is wacky, so
That, that is true. That is true. I got somebody right now saying, "Hey, Radical, why don't you invite Brandon to explain his side?" I sent him a thing. He's seen it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's busy or whatever. But I sent him a message. I told him to come in, but maybe he's busy or something. But yeah, it's a little weird, you know what I mean? Anthony, what was your first reaction when you first heard this?
I'm not gonna lie, like I was actually expecting this. Like I've had conversations on my channel
Get the fuck
where
out of
like
here, for real.
yeah, like I was talking to like the dude coming on my channel, the Goat Jay, and I was like, honestly, I was like Tariq's probably or should probably get a restraining order because this dude's probably gonna show up at his like business. So then now that I heard it, I wasn't surprised at all. Like I was like, yeah, I was honestly expecting that. I think Tariq is a little, not a little, he's intimidated by Brandon. Maybe not physically, but maybe like, Brandon's been on him, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he lives in California, not too far from each other.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so like he lives in Cali, so he could do a lot of stuff that, we're on the East Coast. People who troll Tariq or don't like Tariq, we can't do that. We can't go to his, see his stuff, but he can actually do it. So I think Tariq is kind of feeling intimidated by that, and he's kind of just trying to cover his tracks. Like, yo, I don't want this dude showing up. You know what I mean? And basically, like, yo, look at the museum. I'm gonna walk in the museum and confront him man to man. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. But I wasn't surprised at all.
Yeah. Kevin C says you can't just call somebody a pedo. Pan African might have enough low level harassment behavior to warrant a restraining order. People call Tariq names all the time. He might not care just yet. That's a good point.
And on that point, real quick, I'm happy that you admitted you heard that, because when I was arguing with Brandon one day, I told him that. He's like, "Oh, I never said that. You're lying. You're lying." And people on his chat talking about, "Oh, he never said that." I'm like, bro, he said it. Like, what are you talking about?
I remember.
Like,
I remember he said it. It was when he was showing the picture of him and his wife, right?
yeah, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Tariq's a pedophile." And then people in his comments were telling him like, "Yo, chill, chill." And he's like, "I don't care. I got lawyer too," or something like that. So I'm like, he's definitely said that.
I remember.
You
I
can't just
remember
be
he
doing
said it.
that.
Well,
And now
it's kind of like, look, we live in a country with freedom of speech, but there's no freedom of consequence. And I think people need to keep that in mind. Okay? You can say whatever you want, but you will be held accountable for the things that you say. Now, I don't know none of these people. I don't follow Tariq. I don't follow Pan Africanist or Brandon or whatever his name is. My thing is, if he said that on a stream and he doesn't have any evidence of it, then he opened himself up for a suit of slander. That's just how it is. Okay, that's the country we live in, and though that's the law. So if you break the law, sorry. You get my point?
Are you are you into law?
I
Like
went to
profession.
school for criminal justice when I was 21 years old.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you throwing out the terms. I'm like, oh, I'm like spaghetti
Yeah.
play. I'm like, okay.
What
Yeah,
was it?
it's a spaghetti play because it's just so much confusion because the facts are not there, and I wonder why Tariq Nasheed has not yet pursued this because he has everything in his power to actually go get a civil suit against this individual for making that
Well,
claim
Denise, it's
alone.
because he's trying to get us reparations.
Ah, he's too
It's,
beastly with
it's,
that. He's getting the artifacts from like the Egyptians and the
the
foundationals and
Smithsonian, and
the
all that.
Moors and all this stuff. Yeah, he's getting all that stuff together. So busy. Now, one question I have: is it true that Tariq Nasheed is starting a streaming service? How true is that?
He mentioned it, but that's about it. JW says, "Hey Radical, have you checked out Morris World TV?" Yeah, I have. I'm subscribed to him. I haven't checked out his videos, but so far a lot of people have been telling me he's been going in on Tariq. So
And
shout
now
out to
he's
him.
now he's trying
I would
to
like to
he's
see
trying to
that.
sue Tariq.
Yeah.
He's trying to sue Tariq now.
Yeah. The what you call it, the streaming service. It's just been talks, but apparently it's happening. So I guess.
Well,
No, there's a
that
website. There's
goes
a
that
website for it.
goes to what I'm saying. We don't know enough information on both sides. This could be a hustle that's being done in order to keep people engaged with his platform because that way they won't question him about the mismanagement of funds when it comes to the museum, and also he can move on to his next hustle by claiming that he's getting more and more hate, like he's accomplishing something. You know what I'm
Just to
saying?
let you guys know, I did let Brandon know. You see, I'm like, yo, I'm having a stream about Tariq. He about what Tariq is doing to you. If you want, would you be interested in coming on to the stream? He's seen it. It's up to him if he wants to come up or not. So just want to let y'all know. I'm being transparent.
Or
So just
maybe he's trying to hide. That's why I said we don't know this personalities, and that's why I always on YouTube try my best to speak on facts of things that we can actually see and data that people can actually see, because sometimes when we speak on things based on just opinions and feelings and thoughts, that's when things get confusing.
Yeah, that's
But
the problem. I think he let his personal feelings for Tariq kind of maybe like you just said, sometimes on social media you ramble and you say something not realizing that could get you in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to be putting that
peace, Jay.
allegedly. You know what I mean? You got to put that out there.
disclaimers are so needed. I don't know, I've seen streams, I'm not gonna lie, where people just start saying random stuff and I don't see any disclaimers whatsoever. And what people don't understand, when a YouTuber does not put any disclaimers on the screen, they are basically assuming full responsibility for what goes on their channel. Okay,
Uh,
that's just what it is.
Excuse me. I have to agree 100% with Denise. In fact, there are times when I'll put like maybe 2 or 3 disclaimers on my streams because sometimes when you talk about topics which I consider controversial, they can get the crazy ideas. So I just wanted to, make sure that it's perfectly clear and the record is set straight. So on that issue, I have to agree with Denise 100%.
Yeah, I get it. Doing the disclaimers is a boring thing because you have to read them all the time, but they are there for a reason. It's to protect you. And to be honest, when we have individuals like this making those statements, I mean, it can cost you a lot of money. And that's why I say all the time, every time I bring people on, I am not responsible for
You
what
have to
the
ready to do that.
say. I'm not responsible if I want to use your image and your likeness in the future for another stream that I want to make, if you came up to my channel, you know that I'm going to use it for whatever purpose of my show. I want to use your image and your likeness. So all these disclaimers are in place to protect you legally and distance you from any liability in the future. And people think it's a joke because they think, oh, it's just YouTube. YouTube is just an employer. If you look at it the way it is, this is a platform. This is basically a building when you come to do stuff. You're doing a speech to people. Like right now, how many people we have connected to the stream?
29.
Exactly. We're talking to 29 people. Okay. So at the end of the day, hello, we're literally having a gathering that's online. We are responsible for the things we say. We have to make these disclaimers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Wait, Denise, take it over for 1 second. I'm doing something. Take it over.
Okay, I see in the comment sections, I see that Indigenous Podcast says, Tariq is a hypocrite in my opinion. He can dish insults, but when you say something back, he cries racism. Well, look, for the most part, I think Tariq Nasheed, he might have like a little bit of medicine with like a little bit of information with like a lot of emotional stuff, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Again, don't come at me. It's just the way I see it. So there's certain things that, yeah, I think he uses reality, partial reality of what Black Americans go through in order for him to profit from it with a lot of emotions and he still keeps people angry. That's basically what he's doing. So isolate the people, keep them angry, get their money, because I'm going to save you, from this fictional enemies that we all have that are coming for us. Because at the end of the day, I don't see any organizations coming at the FBAs directly to do anything to them. Expressions, communications, like I said, those things don't count. To me, that's just petty stuff. Now, when it comes to the whole Brandon situation, that claim alone, yes, in my opinion, it's grounds for slander. That's a slanderous statement. So, of course, it doesn't matter if Tariq says racism or not. It's just slander. So, but when it comes to the rest of the stuff, yeah, when they call people racist simply because they're talking about an issue that happens to be of a Black person, and that person says that that's racism, that's really not racism. You just pointed out a fact.
Yeah, I got this. I got this. When you were talking about the disclaimers. So whenever I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna be like this: allegedly. allegedly. allegedly, allegedly.
You got to, man, because today people are like literally are just out for getting money, and they are ready to take every penny.
And us Latinos, you know what I mean? Us Latinos, we love to claim that we white. So if Tariq come at me and I'm gonna talk to the office, I'm gonna be
a white boy like me and you are. I want to be a regular person.
You know what I mean? But allegedly.
I mean, it is what it is,
What's up, Jose?
Good evening. Good evening. Actually, would you believe it? There's this one person that's constantly going around saying that I'm a white, senile old man, and all he's doing is just giving me free.
No, don't worry about Denise. Denise is like, she's pissed off. Oh, somebody else? Somebody else does that? Oh, my bad.
No, I'm not referring to Denise. Okay. I'm referring to an insignificant little worm that has a microsucker channel, which is like 1/5 mine.
Oh, okay, got it. Does this individual sound like a woman by any chance?
Oh my God, he has a wonder bra. This wonder bra boy. I'm not gonna say his name, but I know who he is.
Does he sound like a woman when he speaks? And is he did he
Did he claps back? I know that.
wait. Did he say that he was a witch?
No, this is not this
Oh,
is a
this might be
totally
somebody else.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
this is
not
a
the same
totally
one.
this is a totally different individual.
then. Oh, this
Different.
is probably somebody else. Okay, cool. Kevin, what's going on, bro?
Hello, Radical as the host, and Denise, Jose, Armando, all the folks on the panel,
What's
and
up?
to
What's up?
everybody in the chat. You guys doing all right today?
Yeah, we good. We
Yes,
good. What's up?
thank you.
Yeah, I missed.
Yeah, we're doing great, Kevin.
Good, outstanding. I missed the first part of your commentary, but I'm trying to understand what is the link here? Because this is kind of like a Brandon Tariq issue. What is the point of the stream? What are we
Well, I
trying
mean,
to
what's the
pull?
point? Because I just want to talk about it.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was like you guys had a connection to it or something. Like somehow you got drug into it.
Oh
You guys on
no! I just want to talk about it because I find it very interesting. I wanted people's opinion on it, and I want to know basically what people were thinking. That's it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was just wondering if you guys got drug into it somehow. Because
No, hell no. I don't want.
interestingly enough, he has out of all the people, and I don't watch him enough to actually uh, uh, see all the people that he talks about. But you haven't come up yet.
About what?
What Tariq? I haven't seen anything where he has.
Well, good. Well, good. I don't want him to bring me up. I'm all right. I'm
Well,
good.
it's just that usually.
I'd rather be a shadow. I'd rather be a shadow and him not know nothing about me. I'm good.
Yeah, well, it's just usually when people are talking about him,
Yeah.
because you'll hear him mention him, or you hear him in some of his like broadcasts, some of the stuff that he says, because he's kind of come at basically the people that come at him, kind of he kind of claps back a little bit here and there.
Bro, literally, like, trust me, like everybody, there's people that do videos about him like tons and tons and tons.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm wondering if it just hadn't got to the point where he feels like he needs to take any legal action, except for I guess he probably just doesn't want him around the museum, I suppose. Maybe,
I don't. Is that really the end game? Because you could just put the receptionist or security or whatever. You could be like, hey, listen, I don't want this person to enter. That's it. You know what I mean?
yeah, but he might just not. He probably might just not even want him outside, just because he's already popped up at different places.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the. I actually thought Brandon was in Africa. That's the other thing I've kind of thought about him. He kind of misled me a little bit. Pan Africanism kind of points to the fact that you're spending, most of your time actually.
Well,
I guess I suppose he's kind of like Dr. Umar. You could, he's kind of half and half. He's in Africa. He's in the United States. Because I do the same thing. I just don't say.
I know that he went to Africa recently, but that's basically it. I don't know the whole ideology of Pan Africanism.
Well, it's supposed to link the United States and countries in Africa, or actually the entire continent. It's an exchange of information, ideas, resources, materials, business, and all that other stuff. So that's what's supposed to be happening with Pan Africanism.
You know what? But you know what I find funny though about, and this is what I've always said. Like I'm not pro, and I'm anti Pan Africanism, because, in my opinion, of course, it's yet another contradiction that I often ask questions when it comes to Black Americans. I get that you want to connect to Africa and whatever, but my thing is, Pan-Africanism helps every immigrant from African countries, but does nothing for the African American. So at the end of the day, when you see African Americans advocating for Pan-Africanism, it makes me cringe, because you kind of speaking from both sides of your mouth, saying that, okay, I'm gonna put myself first, which is what I think Black Americans should do. However, you also want to have ties with African countries. It does not work like that. You have to be either for your own and stand on your own ground and care about your issues alone and leave these other countries alone. That's pretty
All right.
much it.
Then, all right.
So
All right,
I'll
Denise.
go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead,
Then,
Don. Go ahead.
all right, Denise and Kevin. Um, the philosophy of Pan Africanism, right? Wasn't it started by Marcus Garvey, or it
1920.
was before that?
No, Marcus Garvey around the 1920s. He was the first with
All
the,
right.
with the Universal Negro Improvement Association. It basically was known as Garveyism or the Garveyite movement. But he actually tried to do all of that initially in the 1900s or early 1900s, and he met a lot of roadblocks along the way. And interestingly enough, Black Americans wanted to connect with not only Garvey but the African continent. And of course, he tried a bunch of programs that failed, everything from a Black Start line to businesses and stuff like that. He started some businesses in the United States, some organizations kind of branched out, and he wanted to make that connection to Africa. It never happened because, of course, he got U.S. government interference with what eventually becomes the FBI. And I forget the name of the FBI before it actually becomes officially known.
But of course you're gonna get the interference because you have American people trying to exchange resources and knowledge with other countries that America is not responsible for. I just don't understand why it's so hard to understand that Pan-Africanism is like, for example, let's say tomorrow in an alternate universe, I'm an African American, I will be shooting myself in the foot if I want to be Pan-Africanism, because the issues of Nigeria, Ghana, Rwanda, Haiti, Brazil, those are not your issues. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, you cannot say that you want certain things and then with that same energy then decide that, oh, the FBI was bad because they try to turn down a movement that was trying to exchange resources, knowledge, and whatever with other countries that are not the United States. You got to be an American. I've said it many times. The more the African American has fought to assimilate and integrate to American society, I think that's the path that should continue. You're an American.
Well, but part of that Garveyite movement was actually you had people who wanted to go to Africa. They actually wanted to go. That was the whole movement. Well, not the whole movement, but part of the movement, or a main part of the movement, was literally the Back to Africa movement. Like that was the idea to get the majority of the Americans who wanted to go leave the United States and actually go and resettle on the African continent and actually build that up over there with more Black people versus being a minority in the United States. There are people that actually wanted to do that. The issue is that you had at the same time colonialism going on with European powers at that time. So the idea was to make sure that Black Americans and Africans did not connect in a positive way. Interestingly enough, there's the same association. So when you think about Asians, right? And this is not speaking negative of them, but they have connections back to like China, India, all these, even Japan, all these other countries. There's money that they generate in the United States that have banks linked directly to China. Same thing with some of these other Asian countries. It's primarily the Asians that do it. Now, so I don't know how it works out with the Hispanics too much, but I know essentially for Hispanics, there's a lot of remittances. People generate money in the United States, and a lot of remittances. The word I'm trying to say. I can't say it. Remittances, or what you call it, transactions go back to Latin America.
Yeah, Kevin.
That's how they actually figured out how many.
Kevin, real quick,
go ahead.
Can you answer this question because I wouldn't know? They asked, correct me if I'm wrong, Black folks got Marcus Garvey deported. Is that true?
Yeah, he's wrong. It wasn't Black people that got him deported. It was basically the FBI. The United States government that got him deported.
Oh, okay.
Because again, the whole idea was to make sure that Marcus Garvey couldn't effectively create an organization and what do you call it, generate enough interest to actually do what he was trying to do. Because again, like I said, the whole idea was to break up that connection between Black Americans and the United and the continents and the countries in Africa. And the way to do that was, so eventually you guys know what happened with Garvey, right? He eventually gets cited for mail fraud, scandals and schemes and financial mismanagement. And part of the problem with the UNIA movement was that it actually got too big for him to control. And he couldn't have complete and total oversight Also, you actually had the FBI, and again, I forget the name of the organization when it first started, but it eventually becomes the FBI. They actually created and recruited, or they recruited black people to infiltrate Garvey's organization, get information, and then set him up. And then he goes to trial. He gets cited for mail fraud. He gets jailed, and eventually he gets deported. He actually leaves. He gets about 4 or 5 years in jail, and then from there, he actually gets. He voluntarily leaves. I guess some deal was made. He voluntarily leaves. He goes to England. And I want to say that's where he eventually died. All right. And then his body gets, later gets placed in Jamaica. And Jamaica embraced him as a hero. But when he was doing all that stuff here in the United States, he wasn't really, he really didn't get the love. He actually tried to start his whole movement in Jamaica first. And then he actually got put on with the Black Americans here in the United States because it caught on very quickly because Black Americans were going through more at the same time. Remember, Jamaica is a primarily black continent. Oh, no, I'm sorry, a black country, but it had European influences and control, and it was under the control of the British at the time. Yeah. So there's a lot going on with that. So that's why he was able to actually generate more interest here in the United States. But again, there was a lot of things at play. So basically, at the end of the day, he was set up. And he got
so I have one question.
Wait. Hold on. I want to introduce Rakim. Rakim, shout out to you. You got any thoughts on the topic, or do you want to add anything to it?
Yeah. With the situation as far as Tariq Nasheed goes, like I said, I haven't really followed much of Tariq Nasheed. I've seen a few videos and different things like this, but it goes to show that this has completely deterred from the original goal of reparations. It's a bunch of infighting. It's a bunch of, I'm the one that's leading this movement whatsoever. When in actuality, if the insults was dismissed and all of the roasting and everything, and people just focused on what the absolute goal was and getting political power to do that, I think a lot of this stuff would suffice. But
Hey, I do want to speak to what Denise talked about as it relates to Pan-Africanism. And so, Denise, you're actually right on this. Look, black people in America need to concentrate on the issues we have here, because here's what you can't do. Sometimes you're trying to bite off more than what you can chew. We know you can walk and chew gum at the same time, but there's so many issues right here in the United States. It's very difficult to connect with the continent of Africa. And I look at it like this. Honestly, if black people could connect with the continent of Africa and Pan-Africanism could actually get on in the right way, I suspect a lot of black people would voluntarily leave the United States and actually resettle in Africa if it was beneficial.
I will never go for that. I think I'm gonna say it as a descendant of African people. I do not, and I will never try to connect with the people in the continent. And the reason is because even though I respect them, I am very proud of our heritage that was passed down to me by my ancestors and my father. I do not trust people that were supposed to be my brothers and sisters and sold my ancestors. I am so sorry.
I want to add to that. All right.
Let me finish. But
let her finish.
I'd rather try to be with someone that showed me, try to make amends with someone, or try to make an arrangement, because we're never gonna be like completely, at least not in our lifetime, right? We're not gonna be completely friendly, but I'd rather make an arrangement of tolerance with people that already showed me who they are, and that show me that they don't like me, so that we already know where we stand, rather than to have this fishy relationship with people that already told me they were my family and sold us away. I am so sorry, but that's just where I stand.
That's a good point. That's a good point, and that kind of goes back to the history of it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Don. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. Go ahead.
All right, but yeah,
I'll go after you.
All right, but you have to all right, you have to go to what Denise said, right? What a lot of people don't understand is that Africa is just a bunch of tribes. So therefore, if a person sold a person, it was not of the same tribe. It was of a different warring tribe that was captured.
I understand that, but I'm going to ask you something. Whether we were from different tribes, we know today that we come from all parts of West Africa. How many of those other tribes that did not sold us came back to get us?
Okay, yeah,
I
that's a good point.
mean,
How many people from the continent
Actually,
were
there were a couple of wars between certain tribes and certain European
no,
settling groups.
how many
No,
of them
I
came
get
to
a
the
question.
how many of them came to the new world
Oh no,
and started a war with the Europeans to get the
none,
our African people, our African ancestors
Can
back?
I
So,
want to
so
speak on that.
Am
here's the
I
point.
lying?
I want to hold on 1 second, Kevin. See, I
No,
wanted to speak on this real quick. I completely disagree. And first and foremost, I would say that the whole do for self mentality, Marcus Garvey was a great example of that. And he was completely sabotaged. It's obvious that with global discrimination, one of the reasons why Black Americans connect to Africa, I'm not saying connected to any tribe, but they didn't hate you because of what tribe you were. A lot of people didn't oppress you because they didn't give a damn what tribe you were. They didn't oppress you because of, or enslave you because of you was this particular tribe or that particular tribe. When what happened in Africa at the particular time, it was no concept of race. Once again, it was tribal warfare that the Europeans took advantage of, just like the Europeans took advantage of the Tainos and the natives in this country who had eternal conflicts and used it to their advantage. The European heritage that some people are so proud of today had warring factions within Europe where they had tools of torture and destruction and tortured and murdered people in public for everyone to see the set examples of. So to use the Africans as an excuse, I find that completely asinine. And then on top of that, when you look at, people are trying to go back to Africa. Africa is the richest continent with multiple resources. Europeans don't have any connection to Africa whatsoever. Yet Africa is the reason why Europe is at the point where it's at right now with the riches and everything. Africa is actually the reason why everybody wants to go vacation to Europe and go to different parts of Europe. So I don't understand if it's certain people that you can work with on the continent to be able to establish some type of business or to be able to do some type of dealings with. I don't understand why we wouldn't want to connect to that due to the fact that that's where our heritage actually comes from. Despite if any closed-minded people out there that just don't want to work with, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people that are interested in doing business and different things like that. How else would you be able to improve your conditions if you don't think about, things like that?
Because
so
those things, because if you think about it, those things are not actual tangibles. We're basically telling people, and this is my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong, Rakim. I'm just saying my opinion. We're basically telling people we should unite with these folks, not because we have common interests, because you have more common interest with people on the West. Okay, let's just stop for a second, hear the train on its tracks, and understand the Black American, right, is the most influential Black group in the world and the richest. Okay, that's just straight right off the bat. Even you go from the richer African American to the poorer, and you compare them to from the richer to the poorer on any other African group or Black group, and you're gonna see that the African American is the most prosperous, the most influential. The second one is the Afro French, but the number one is always going to be African American. Now, with that being said, you're basically saying that the rest of people that come from that are Afro descendants, including yourself, you should unite not with people that have your same socioeconomics and your same politics and your same circumstances and upbringing and environment. You should not unite with those. You should unite with the ones that come from the same place your probably 12 to 13 generations ago ancestor came from because they look like us. I say to that, no. I'd rather unite with people that are already on this side of the fence, that don't have a history of betraying me, that just have a history of treating me and abusing me and exploiting me, and come to an arrangement with them. Again, we're not talking about we're gonna get along, we're gonna be this peaceful kumbaya, because that's never going to happen in our lifetime. We know too much about these things, and it's too recent. We're talking about the fact that we're gonna come to an arrangement with these people. So I disagree with the whole uniting with the continent again, because who guarantees you that these people are not doing that just for them to gain something, when you that are at the top, you have more to lose than they do.
Okay, I
Yeah,
wanted to respond
it's
to
not
that real
credible.
quick. Hold,
Yeah.
hold on one second, Kevin C. Brother. I wanted to respond to that real quick because you said what tangibles.
Get her,
So gold,
Rakim. Get her.
diamonds, oil, lithuanium, rubber, all of these different things. Those are not tangibles because those seem to be the exact tangibles that the Europeans colonized the continent for. They got
Do
them
they
rich
own
today.
them? Do
So
they own them though?
who own what?
Do the Africans own those things?
No, they do not own
Mm.
them. But what I'm saying is that if it's a possibility, if you can establish some type of business where you can create a line from Black America to Africa, where it can actually be some type of ownership or do business with those people to be able to benefit from some of those tangibles that's over there. You talk about uniting with the same group of people. You want to talk about somebody that traded. Let's talk about what happened after we left the shores. What about all of the things that happened after we left the shores?
But why we
Like,
left the shores though?
I'm not talking about why we left the shores.
But we
Let's
have to
talk
talk
about
about that, Rakim. Why
we
we
talk.
left the
I
shores?
just explained why we left the shores, Denise. We left the shores because of
No,
tribal warfare. Let me finish, Denise,
no.
because let me finish, Denise, because I'll let you finish and I'll let you get everything out that you had to say. We left the shores because of tribal warfare within the continent that the Europeans came after they terrorized and pretty much obliterated the Native Americans, that they came and took advantage of to be able to supplement another group for the previous slaves that they had pretty much killed off during diseases and colonization. That's why we left the shores. Everything that's taken place after we left the shores, that's what's affecting us right now. The same thing that you talk about uniting with these people, Black Americans have been trying to do that since the beginning of time, sweetheart. We've been trying to
Oh,
do that since the beginning of time. Just watch the history. Even in the whole, even in the 50s and the 60s, Black people were assimilating. We were not able to assimilate. So I don't understand where's this coming from. Like, all we need, how do you unite with people that have the money, the guns, and the power that has pretty much exploited your group and has done anything and enforced their will on your group? That's not uniting. That's being under their rule as a second class citizen and accepting that. So I don't understand the whole argument behind that.
okay, I'll
So you
explain
so
it to
you
you. I'll explain. Well, hold on, Kevin. Give me 1 second. I'll explain it to you in a simpler way. In a simpler way. Are you a Christian, Rakim?
No.
Okay. Have you read the Bible?
I've read bits and pieces of the Bible when I
Okay.
was younger,
Are
but
you familiar? Are you familiar with the history of Joseph?
no,
he's
I
just
just
married
know.
Joseph.
Okay, I'll tell you the history of Joseph. Joseph was the number 11 son of Jacob. From the wife that he actually loved the most, he only had 2 kids. Meanwhile, he had 10 kids from the woman that he did not love as much. So he treasured those 2 last kids, Joseph and Benjamin. His brothers betrayed Joseph and sold him as a slave to the Egyptians. Well, not necessarily to the merchants that eventually sold him to Egyptians. Over there, he moved up the ladder from an Egyptian because of his talents and his visions and his dreams, and he was able to decipher a dream for the Pharaoh of Egypt that made him a governor because he solved the food crisis that was to come. So eventually, when the crisis comes and there's hunger all around the world, Joseph saved the world by, preserving grain and among other things. His family at some point arrives and he's already the governor. He's in a position of power. Joseph does not return to live with his family, even though eventually he forgives them and they get along as a family. He forgives his siblings. Now, he stays in Egypt because He shares more with the Egyptians that once enslaved him and also put him in jail, almost about to lose his life. He remained in Egypt. He had family there. His sons were there. His wife was there. He remained in Egypt in his position of power. He did not came back. So when you apply that to what I'm talking about, I'm not saying that you have to hate your African brothers and sisters. What I'm saying is you got to evaluate if it's in your best interest to actually unite financially, make an arrangement with people that already showed you that they're willing to betray you and have no money that equals your money to make an arrangement with you. I don't know if that makes sense better now.
No, it makes sense.
But here's one thing I want to say, because you're saying unite with the people that have done all of these things to us, which is what Black Americans have historically done, which is why we've gotten to this point. So is that the case? Do you forgive the United States for what they did to the island of Puerto Rico? And if they said upon uniting with them, you will no longer have to speak Spanish, fly the Puerto Rican flag, and forget about Pedro Piso Campos, will you be willing to compromise all of those things, and you will be under the leadership of these same people that never had your best interests at heart? Would you be willing to compromise all of those things in order to say that you unified and to get along with the group?
I'm gonna give you my answer, but I'm gonna give you this first. The difference among Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans in the island that African Americans don't have is that you have no land. Your land is this. No land.
Okay. Yeah.
Your land is the land that you fought for, and that's American soil here. That this is your home. Okay? So it's not the same as Puerto Rico that was invaded. You were dragged here and you paid a very high price to be able to call yourself American. I don't see why that's so hard to understand for a lot of Black American brothers and sisters, because
it's difficult because we've never been considered American.
It doesn't, but this is the thing, Rakim, let me finish. As a Puerto Rican, my own politicians don't care about Puerto Ricans. You ask any Mexican, Ecuadorian, Honduran, Salvadorian, Peruvian, their own government does not consider them citizens enough to treat them with respect and dignity. So that does not have anything to do with the fact that you belong in this country. This is your home. This is your land. Your debacle with the country, that's another thing, but this is your country. Make no mistake about it. This is your land. So at the end of the day, yes, you can have disagreements and there's a breach of contract with the country amongst Black Americans in America, but that does not negate the fact or cancels the fact that you guys are just as American as anybody else is American. Because you were here even before this country existed. So again, with that being said, I think it's better that you embrace what you fought for and your ancestry fought for, rather than just trying to go to third world countries trying to make friends with these people that have more to gain than you. That's all I'm saying.
You're actually making sense.
How is that offensive?
No, we got you, Denise. We got you. You're making sense. So I actually took some notes because you guys are going for a little bit. So if you guys don't mind if I address it, because I know Radical can shut the stream down before I get a chance to get the points in. But you're absolutely right, Denise. United States. So Black Americans have evolved from the United States. You know, this is our land, our birthright, and you're right. Even before it became a country, Black Americans were putting in work, and it does not make sense to give up your inherited birthright and go someplace where there's no economic advantage. Right? That's what you're saying. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and you're right. It wouldn't be a good thing to do right now. That's what I'm saying, though. You got to remember, back in the 1950s and earlier, there were people who were very serious about it. And that's why you had the Back to Africa movement, and you had a lot of Black Americans on board, because you got to remember what was happening in the 50s and earlier with the hardcore open segregation, racism, discrimination, massacres and everything else. People wanted to get the hell out of here, and they thought Africa was the answer. But until it got sabotaged by, the FBI, United States government, that was actually a way out. But today, that's not the best thing to do, because you're right. Economically speaking, it's not to our advantage to give up our position here. It's actually best to stay here and deal with what the issues, whatever they are, resolve them, get them under control, get everything right, whatever, and then get that squared away. And then establish a connection to Africa if it becomes economically advantageous. And the reason it's not advantageous today is that even though Africans actually occupy the land and they have the land, they're there, they have physical presence and all the other stuff, they don't own and control it. When you talk about colonization, after colonization, which started breaking away in the 1950s, going into the 1970s, about a 20-year process, right? A lot of these countries, France, Great Britain, but France specifically, France did a really good job with it, but other countries did like low-level work with it. But they literally established a pact, or actually a contract that is known as the Pact to Continue the Colonization of whatever. And what it did was, even though the Europeans were no longer physically present in Africa, it still bound them to the Europeans by way of economics, finances, and still continue exploitation and extraction of resources. So you're absolutely right. Until that gets under control and Africans actually own all the resources and materials and their own wealth, it makes no sense for Black Americans to leave the United States and go someplace where Europeans and now Asians are actually in control of all of its natural resources. We actually would be going down versus, and this is not, understand if there's any Africans listen, I'm not talking bad about Africa. I understand the situation. I know what's going on over there. I know, so I'm not trying to denigrate the continent. It's just that they don't have control, positive physical control of their stuff. I can guarantee you this: if they can somehow get rid of the Europeans, the Asians, and anybody else that's actually over there controlling their stuff right now, they would be richer than everybody. And that's the issue. The whole point is to exploit those folks, extract those resources, get the money to France, England, and all the former colonial powers to still have connections to them. They eliminate that, then Africa literally becomes the richest, the most resource rich and mineral rich continent, and they can be actually rich. Okay, baby, that's my daughter. She's getting ready to go to the concert. Have fun, sweetheart. All right, be safe. Love you. All right, that's then and only then would it make sense for us to actually do that and leave what is our established birthright to go to some place that would be better. That's the only discrimination.
It's kind of like the riches from Haiti, for example. Haiti has a lot of riches, but until they can get their country under control, Pan-Africanism only serves the African immigrant. It does not serve the African American. The African American plight is applied to integrate fully until they no longer have to say they are African American. They can literally just be American people. That's literally the goal, because there's nowhere else to go. And why would you guys have made very clear in many streams and many conversations that African Americans do not wish to leave this country. You just want to make the experience better.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
No, I think I was a little misunderstood. The only thing I was just saying is to establish business within the continent of Africa that will benefit Black Americans here in the United States. So whether it be Black Americans migrating back and forth, but it was one part that I was wrong with. Kevin C said that mostly Europeans do own a lot of the resources there, which I didn't factor in. So I admit I was wrong on that part, but that's what I meant.
I wanna say
two other things real quick.
Wait, Kevin, real quick. I want to introduce Harlem. Harlem, what's going on? I'm about to end it real quick.
I just want to say one thing to you, Radical Latino.
Yeah,
after watching Wakanda 2, right? Introduce the Latino side of things, right?
Yeah.
That shit was kind of fly, my nigga. Like, you gotta keep it real with the nigga no more and all that. Like, that shit was dope as hell, bro. And it's like, yo, but how do you feel about that? Like, with that whole movie, like, what does that mean when it comes to our relation?
No, it was dope. I spoke to a truth teacher about this. It was dope. It showed Black and brown unity, but also in the same time, it showed like, hey, yo, if we're not on the same page, we're gonna riff about it. But at the end of the day, we need to come to the same page. You know what I'm saying? And I liked how they actually showed what the Spanish was doing to our people. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times that's not being shown. A lot of times,
it was funny though, because they kind of reversed it on us. His thing was this: if y'all niggas don't unite with us, I'm killing y'all. Period.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm going to war with these crackers. I'm not fucking with these crackers. I'm mad that y'all niggas is fucking with these crackers. And if y'all niggas don't get with me, we going to war.
Yeah,
that
pretty
was
much.
different. That was different.
Yeah.
I just thought that shit was dope, my nigga. I just wanted to say that.
But now that you say that, there's one thing that I disagree with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
What?
In this case, I mean, Radical, we have been deemed anti-Latino left and right. So let's add some more fuel to the fire. Right?
Okay.
In this case, the only group that's actually telling us to unite against white supremacy, and we are the ones that want to be dandy and happy and sitting with them on a bench and drinking tea and having a few cookies with them, is us. Like, it would be on reverse. I think Wakanda would be like, hey, come fight these people with me. And we will be the ones that are like, no, they are friends. Like, that's how it is in real life. And we know it because we've seen it. The coonery on the Latin spectrum and the denial just to not, because we don't have the guts to fight that war. We don't want to get in that mess. It's wild in the Latin community. So I think it's on reverse. Which is why I've said many times to Black Americans, it's time for you guys to understand. It's time to leave us behind to a degree when it comes to white supremacy.
Yeah, because the thing is, even though there is a lot of Latinos that are not on that racist tip and do speak out, the thing is they don't have the heart to actually do something about it. You feel what I'm saying? And on top of that, is it just me? Or was Wakanda too like mad, like pro women and
they would.
Yes. They said that. They said it was going to be like that previously.
I want one of the other FBA brothers to speak, but there was an element in the movie where Wakanda was looked at as being like unprotected. There was no man involved.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, hey, yo, where's the brothers at? Like, where's
as the only woman in the panel, I'm gonna say Black Panther 2, boy bye. Okay.
And they said that was gonna. They said that was gonna happen. They said,
for real?
In previous things that people was already pinpointing that they was going to put all of this. And it's so sad how the term woke has been used by everybody now when it was originally a black term. Because once that happens, it's all done. But a lot of people said it was going to be extreme wokeism in this, as far as LGBTQ and women empowerment thing.
I'm not gonna lie. Okay, women can have their own their thing, shout out, but it was like overdrive. You feel me? Like I'm like,
whatever too was they were trying to figure out what to do with Chadwick's both.
You guys are just jealous.
They were trying to figure out how to write that in and make it make sense in the movie, which really, by the way, they never really made it.
It was Woman King too.
Yeah.
You guys are just
yo, bro. The bottom line, let me say this real quick, Denise. The bottom line is this: it was a movie that had foundational Black Americans and Latinos in it, in the same. It addressed some of the issues, like you said, radical. You know what I mean? And let's just keep it on there. Let's not go too crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yo,
so shout out to Tenoch though. He did it. Tenoch, that's how you say his name, right? Horta. He did an outstanding job as like we understood why he was doing what he was doing, even though everything he was.
Hey, yo, bro, I did some research on that dude that they was talking about, Kuku Khan, or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
That was the Mayans' representation of Jesus Christ, right?
People of all costs.
Like he had, this dude actually had a scar in the left side of his belly, like from his spirit, just like Christ. That is weird.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make a question real quick.
A lot of
this is a
wait,
question
real quick before you ask the question. A lot of these gods from Indian culture, Mayan culture, Inca culture, African culture, a lot of these gods have a lot of similarities to Jesus Christ. The virgin birth, the scar in the tummy, the death and resurrection for 3 days. There's a lot that are very, very similar to Jesus Christ. Again, I'm not trying to say anything. If you're a Christian, don't get offended. I'm just saying,
Excuse
But
me.
a lot
Brad,
of
and a little fun fact.
Wait. What's up, Rakim? What's
Okay,
up?
excuse me.
Wait, Jose, hold on. Rakim, what's up?
I'm just gonna say a little fun fact for people that don't know. Tupac was actually named after the Inca chief in Peru, Tupac Amaru.
Oh,
For
for
a lot of
real?
people that don't
I
know
didn't
Yeah,
know
that.
Maru,
Yeah.
yeah, Tupac Amaru. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Jose, okay, go ahead, Jose, and then Denise. Jose, what's up?
Okay, I cannot speak. Okay, I cannot speak for Holland or Kevin C. Other than Don Amano and myself as the only other Christians on the panel. I understand what you're coming from, and I'm not insulting in any way, shape, or form. So I just want to make it perfectly clear.
Okay, cool. Denise, say what you got to say.
Oh, my question is the following, because then now that brings another question mark. If Wakanda Forever was not based on actual American people, then do you guys think, because that's Africans and Mayans before the invasion of
I think the
hold
movie.
on.
All right,
The movie
all
is
right. My
about
fault. Denise. Sorry.
It's
Denise.
about African folks and pre-Spain colonization of Mayans. So if that's the case, do you guys think the events would have taken place in the same order? Or you think it would have been the same? Do you guys think that would be an actual representation of how it would be?
Yeah.
Do you think Mayans?
I think it would, and I'm gonna tell you why.
I mean, let me say this real quick. Radical, real quick. When you look at the Marvel universe, they can do whatever they want to do. And when we're talking about the Mayan culture, the Inca culture, yes, it predates foundational Black American culture by thousands of years. Now we're going super deep. And they incorporated that shit in a movie, which is going to raise these kind of questions that we have now. You know, it's just dope. If they wanted to, they could create something that would evolve foundational Black Americans and somehow tie them into the whole scenario. But right now, you know, we're dealing with Wakanda, which is like an African civilization that goes super deep, and now they done tied in the fucking Native Americans that was living in Mexico. So that shit is just heavy. Like it's so much they could do with that, and that's
Yeah,
all.
because
I
if you
with
think
that.
about it, think about it this way: the reason why the Latino it's basically unable to actually disconnect itself from all of the colonial implementations in our culture is because the last stronghold of free people from Latin countries, which was the indigenous group that had that pride, were basically annihilated in one of the biggest, if not the biggest, genocide in human history. Okay,
and that's what I was gonna say based on your question. I was gonna say that would what we saw in the movie would I think would have gone the same way because these individuals weren't colonized. They didn't have that white supremacist colonization just yet. They were fighting against the Spanish. So
yeah.
I believe it would have gone the same way. With that being said, listen, guys, thank you very much for coming in. I'm gonna catch everybody later.